Happy May the 4th be with you day. There is this great story in the Bible that we can read about in the Gospels concerning the disciples. They were arguing amongst themselves when they came to Jesus and asked him, who amongst them would he consider to be the greatest? You know, I think if we stop to think about this story, we can relate. Maybe you and your sibling argue over who should get something, but then you take your argument to mom or dad to be resolved. Students sometimes argue and then need a teacher or principal to settle the issue. Or sometimes adults argue and need a pastor or friend to intervene. You see, as humans, we always want to know who's the greatest. Well, I do have an answer for you, and you probably have guessed who it is. Why, Jesus is the greatest, of course. Now, what is really great is if you go on to read the rest of the story, Jesus says that to be great, we must become last, the lowest, like a servant. You see, Jesus knew we would argue, and so his teachings for us today is to serve one another. To help illustrate my point, I have put together a little Star Wars themed skit. After all, it is National Star Wars Day. May God bless you this day, and as you go about your task, try to find a way to serve those around you. Greetings and salutations from yours truly. If you don't know who I am Luke, the great author of books like Luke and Acts from the Bible. I will be your host, and with me today I have some very special guests. All of the guests on our show today have one thing in common. They think they are the greatest. Let's meet them, shall we? First up, we have Han Solo and his tall but furry sidekick, Chewie.
Hey Luke, thanks for having us on the show. If anyone is the greatest, it is me. I mean, really, look at this face. Who else here can say they have made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs? Yeah, that's right, just me.
Okay, well, that was very, humble. Moving on, next is the Apostle Peter.
Yo, I am Peter, the Rock City baby, the master himself called me that.
Right, okay, Peter. You mentioned the master. To whom are you referring?
To Jesus, of course. Hold up. I've heard of these masters. Is this Jesus some sort of Jedi Knight? Master Jesus? I'm not sure what you are referring to, but Jesus is no Jedi thing. He is a great teacher, the Lord. Oh no way. I know a bad sort of dude that calls himself Lord Vader. You don't want to meet that guy.
Well, it just so happens that we do have a Jedi Master and Lord Vader here with us today. Welcome to the show, Master Yoda and Lord Vader.
Glad to be here, I am.
Luke, I am your father.
I don't think you are my dad, but yeah, okay. Remember, today we are trying to figure out who's the greatest.
That's right, Chewie. It is totally me.
Great Han, you are not. Greater still, I am.
Your greatness cannot compare to the dark side of the Force, little green man.
Whoa, hey now, let's get back to meeting our final guest. With us today is another disciple from the Bible. Welcome to the show, Matthew.
Hello, Luke. I know you'd be saving the best for last.
Why do you think you are the best, Matthew?
Who else would have their gospel message be first in the New Testament? That's right, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Matthew, right there at the beginning.
That doesn't mean anything.
Hello there, friend. Tell me, where is your book again?
Hey now, why you tax collecting meanie?
Hear their story, we should. Tell us more, will you?
Yeah, Peter. Matthew, why don't you tell us more about that time in Capernaum?
All right, well, we had been traveling around with Jesus as he was teaching.
Jesus had fed the multitudes and had quite the following.
Yeah, thousands of people wanted to hear him, and we were his right-hand men.
Well, anyways, we had just gotten back to Capernaum when some of us started arguing about who was the greatest among our group. One of the disciples, and I will not mention which one, thought he was the greatest because Jesus called him a rock or pebble or something.
Not just a rock, but the rock. I am stable, unchanging, a guy Jesus can count on.
Yeah, remember that rooster incident?
Okay. Let's not get into it here. What did Jesus say when he heard you fighting?
Yes, let us his words hear, we should.
I am on pins and needles here, people. Let's hear what he had to say.
Luke, I am your father.
Oh, brother. Matthew, please continue.
Right. So Jesus heard us arguing, and knowing us, he really knew us. He had a child who was near him sit next to him. And then he said, "Whoever receives this child in my name receives me. And whoever receives me receives him who sent me. For he who is least among you all is the one who is great."
Why is this Jesus is? Great his teachings are.
Whoa.
Peter, can you give a little more explanation to Jesus' words?
Yeah, you see, Jesus knew we were a prideful bunch. He knew we cared more about how people saw us than doing what was right for the people around us. So he wanted us to learn to be humble.
Matthew, don't you write about that in your book, that first book, remember?
Oh, right. Yeah, in chapter 18. Jesus told us to be humble like children, to strive to serve others, and to recognize we need him.
Sounds like Jesus really knew what he was talking about. Huh. Yeah, I sometimes think too highly of myself. Me too.
Me 3.
Think too highly of myself too, do I?
Luke.
Well, thank you for joining us. That seems to wrap up our day, as we all now know that none of us are the greatest. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time.